Hey everybody, happy Friday to you. This is going to be a contest entry for nready or Brian, and he's having a 500 subscriber contest. And first, I just want to tell him congratulations on that. And sorry I didn't get my entry in sooner. Wait until the last minute as always, but I have been really sick the last 3 weeks with a cold, so that's why I haven't been making many videos or doing other contest entries. So anyway, Brian wants to know, is horror dead? Or actually, no, he didn't. Not really. Is horror gonna be going the way of the Western? Do you think it might die off? It might become like a fad where people get sick of seeing the same old thing. And he wanted our thoughts on that, and also to give some of our top picks for this century's best horror movies. So my answer to that is I don't think horror will ever be dead. I think it came close in the '90s of where people got bored with it and it came right back. But I think I think that with the indie scene, that even if Hollywood gives up on it, I think there will always be horror movies. The only thing that concerns me is the whole I don't want to say politically correct generation that's popping up, but uh, I could honestly see another video nasties type situation happening, especially here in America, where the government bans all horror movies because, let's say, there's another school shooting or another mass suicide type thing where someone blames horror movies, and then they say, oh, you know what, the violence in movies, in horror movies, is too much. We're banning them. I could see that happening. So, it may not be this year or next year. It may not be for another 20 years. But, you know, a few more of these school shootings happen, and someone comes out and starts blaming video games and horror movies. I could see them being banned. So I hope that's not the case though, because I love them. So anyway, on to my entry here. The first movie I picked, it came right at in the year 2000, and it's The Cell. I the the guy who directed this has a weird name. I forget what it is. Um, what is it? Tarsem. Tarsem Citra or something like that. But the visuals in this movie scared the living daylights out of me when I seen it. I mean, he's got just these demonic possession, just demonic looking visuals throughout the entire movie. When Jennifer Lopez goes into this other world inside this serial killer's head, it was just an amazing movie, and I've always wanted to see more movies by this guy, but I haven't checked any out to date. But this one here, I mean, it had the potential of being really terrible with Vince Vaughn in it and Jennifer Lopez, but I actually thought the visuals saved it, and the story. So yeah, I definitely love that, and that's one of my picks for this century. The second one I have here is the Purge Anarchy, and this one I thought elevated the first Purge movie, where it took it to the streets and you got to see the purge happening outside. Excuse me. I thought that when I first heard the idea of the Purge movies, before seeing them, I absolutely hated it. I said, this is going to be the dumbest crap ever. I mean, who would ever guess, or think that, one killing and murder is legal for one day of the year and stuff. I mean, it just sounded ludicrous to me, but um, they made the idea interesting enough in the movie realm that it kind of like had me interested in saying, you know what, this is kind of like a not I'm sounding like an idiot here, but what I'm trying to say is they made the movie interesting enough to keep me coming back, and now I hope they do a lot more of these because I really loved both movies. This one a little bit more than the first, but yeah, it's just a lot of fun. The next one here I got is Sinister. This came out a couple of years ago, and it really put the producers and director on the map. This is Blumhouse Pictures, or I think it's called Jason Blum and someone else. But yeah, these guys have been really cranking out some pretty good horror movies, and this one was one of their first that I really dug. I especially love like the film reel death tapes or whatever that are in these movies. I think they're just really cool looking, and yeah, I mean just the stories, the visuals, everything is great. This next one was one that was on a lot of people's lists so far. VHS, you know, these horror anthologies. VHS 2. I even like the third one. I know a lot of people hate the third one. I've actually loved all these. I hope they don't stop. Uh, yeah, I mean, they've just been a lot of fun. Try and pick up the pace here because there's a couple more I want to talk about. The Chernobyl Diaries. You know, this is one, you know, another one I really enjoyed. I seen this one in theaters. It got a lot of crap from some of the people in the horror community, and I didn't see why. You know, I definitely like the first half more than the second half. I think I'm going against the grain on that. But I just like the whole idea of that Russian guy that has that holds, what's the word, excursions. You know, weird excursions. I mean, this is stuff like I would go on. You know, stuff like visiting a place like Chernobyl where, you know, a nuclear reaction happened, or going to like a serial killer's house, or, you know, just some, you know, place where this weird, you know, mass suicide happened or something. I mean, just, that would intrigues me. You know, that stuff like that. You know, just the darker moments of, you know, not American history, but, you know, worldwide history. So yeah, that whole part of it really I loved. Uh, Silent Night here. This is the remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night. I thought this one was well done. I really enjoyed the kills in it, and you know, it's one of the better holiday horror movies that have come out in the past, or in the year 2000 and on. I honestly can't think of too many. Then I've got Wormwood here. This one here is they call it Mad Max meets Dawn of the Dead, which was a great way of describing this movie. If you like either of those movies or both of them, I think you'll dig this one. You know, just insane gore. Just a road movie with lots of guns, lots of armor, and just weird looking things. So I mean, zombies. It was fantastic. The last one here is two from the same director, and I am going to hold this one up and look for the name. Oh, it's right on the friggin' front of the cover there. Denis Villeneuve. This guy is getting a lot of press, especially lately with his new movie Sicario that came out. Oh God, I thought my camera wasn't recording. I was about to start swearing up a storm here, Brian. I've already talked about this film in the past. I tell everyone to check it out. No one listens to me because they see Hugh Jackman, they see this horrible cover art, and they say, "Ah, that fucking sucks. I'm not checking that out." But I'm telling you, this was one of my favorite movies of last year, if not my favorite movie. It's not a straight horror movie. It's more of a drama with horror elements, but it's dark, you know. And Enemy is his next American movie, because I guess this is a Spanish director that has entered into American filmmaking, and he's just knocking every film out of the park. He's getting comparison. Again, my phone rang. So anyway, this guy was rumored to be getting a Star Wars sequel coming out, and I hope he does, because he's really dark. I think he would make the best Star Wars movie since Empire Strikes Back, if not better than that, because he's that quality of a filmmaker. I'm going to give you a brief talk about these films. The first one, Enemy, is about a guy who's this guy. What the hell's this guy's name? Jake Gyllenhaal. He's been in both of his horror movies. He's in this one, and this guy he's walking around the streets, and he sees a doppelganger of himself, which is someone who looks just like you, and he becomes obsessed with following this guy around and finding out more about him. And that's basically the movie about that, the story about that one. I don't want to give too much away. And this one, Prisoners, is a story about uh, uh, whatever the fuck his name is, the guy with the beard. He's, he has young kids and or a young daughter, and while they're playing on the lawn one night, they're abducted off of his lawn, and obviously him and his wife are just destroyed by this happening to them, and the cops and or the whole neighborhood comes out. The cops are there, and they're looking at the house, looking at the crime scene, talking to him, and he's walking off in a daze. He can't believe this happened, and the cop says to him, do you see anyone weird here? Because usually people who abduct kids, they come back to the scene of the crime, and just for take like a memento or a fame, or like just take in the moment. So he looks around and he sees a strange guy he's never seen before in the back, and he says, I'm gonna go over and talk to that guy. I don't know who that guy is. So he goes over to the guy, and the guy starts walking away from him, and he starts saying, hey, wait a minute, I just want to ask you a couple of questions, because this guy, obviously he really wants to get his daughter back, and he's really pissed off, and he says, I'm just and the guy seems a little he's not all there, he's kind of sketchy, and he says something, he whispers something under his breath in Hugh Jackman's ear, saying, she only cries when I leave her. And he's like, what the fuck did you just say to me? And the guy's like, nothing, and he starts walking away, and then he breaks out into a full sprint, and the cops are there, so they ended up catching the guy, bringing him in, and they tell you, Jackman, sorry, we talked to him, he is weird, but we can't hold him, we have nothing on him, he isn't confirming that he said anything to you. Hugh Jackman said, I heard him, and I heard him say something like, she only cries when I leave her. And the cops basically they start bungling the case, and he starts taking over, looking for her. And it keeps showing stats, like the stats are against them. If you don't find your kid within 48 hours, you're never going to see them again. They're probably dead. So all this is going through his family and relationship with his wife, and it's just a very emotional movie that just hits you in the gut. I really haven't spoiled anything. I've talked about the first half hour of the movie. It's a 2-hour movie, but hopefully I've intrigued enough people with my review there to check it out. So Brian, congratulations on the 500 subs, and yeah, I'll leave Brian's link down below. Everyone check him out. He's an awesome guy, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.